Anti-Semitism is a gateway drug to anti-capitalism and anti-Americanism. Look, we can see it right now in New York, the Green-Red Alliance, where the Marxists and the Jihadis and Comrade Mondami, they come together because they hate the same people. And here's the secret. The people they hate is us. They hate is America. And I don't want to wake up in 5 years and find ourselves in a country where both major political parties are unambiguously anti-Israel and unashamedly anti-Semitic. We will not allow that to happen, not on our watch. And I want to say something clearly and unequivocally. Sharia law shall never be allowed in the United States of America. You're looking at the best part of Iowa. You're looking at men and women who love America, who love Jesus, who love our Constitution, and who understand that being an American citizen takes full engagement. Iowa, I believe, is the beating heartbeat of our nation. I also want to say God bless President Donald J. Trump. And in particular, I am grateful for the divine protection when last weekend, for the third time, an assassin came seeking to murder President Trump, and thankfully, for the third time, that evil plan failed. The last year and 4 months with President Trump in office and with a Republican Senate and Republican House, we have won more victories than at any time since we have been alive. Illegal immigration. We inherited open borders from Joe Biden, an invasion at our southern border. We have now seen illegal border crossings drop more than 99%. Now, what does that mean? How does that impact our lives? Well, all across the nation, the murder rate has fallen 20%. The number of deaths from drug overdoses has fallen 20%. Just a couple of years ago, we had more than 100,000 Americans die of drug overdoses in a single year. To put that in perspective, that is nearly double the total number of Americans who died in the entirety of the Vietnam War. Just over 60,000 Americans died in Vietnam. We lost more than 100,000 in 1 year under Joe Biden. And some of y'all know one of those who lost their life was my sister, who died of a drug overdose. So when you talk about defending life, securing the border, and stopping human traffickers and drug traffickers from coming into our community, there are literally tens of thousands of Americans across this country who are alive and breathing and hugging their children because of the victories we have had securing the border. Another victory that we had 1,407 days ago today is finally, after decades and decades of work, Roe versus Wade was overturned. I want to say to everyone here who spent years, who spent decades praying, marching, speaking out, working. Look, I got to say there were a lot of years in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s where I suspect I may not have been the only person in the pro-life movement who wondered, will this ever happen? Are we tilting at a windmill? Is this just an impossible goal? And the hard work of each of you, the dedication to elect principled conservative leaders, to nominate principled constitutionalist judges, to confirm principleless constitutionalist judges, and Roe versus Wade is no longer the law of the land, and it is now in the states where we are fighting to defend life in each and every state. And you want to talk about victories defending life? Let me break some news. Just hours ago, while we were sitting in here tonight, the Fifth Circuit Federal Court of Appeals just issued an order banning the FDA from allowing mail-in abortion drugs nationwide. These are victories that matter. These are victories that make a lasting difference for our nation. On the economic side of things, last year we passed the single biggest tax cut in American history. Made the Trump tax cuts permanent. We passed new tax cuts, including no tax on tips, which I'm the author of. I was getting a haircut 2 weeks ago. My barber heard that I was the author of No Tax on Tips. He literally ran across the room and gave me a high five. No tax on overtime, no tax on car loans, no tax on Social Security. Let's take Social Security. 30 million Americans filed for no tax on Social Security. The average deduction was more than $7,500. That's real money that goes straight to people who need it. And I want to tell you what I think are the two most significant elements of the tax cut we passed last year. April of last year, we did a retreat of all the Senate Republicans. We were talking about what to put in the big tax cut bill, and I stood up in front of my colleagues, and I said, listen, there's a lot of stuff in this bill that's really important that we all care about. Securing the border, rebuilding the military, cutting taxes, yes, 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 we're for all of that. What I said to my colleagues, though, is we ought to stop for a second and think about legacy. What will make a difference? What will people remember in this bill in 10, 20, 30 years? And I said, if I could, I'd like to humbly suggest two things. Number one, school choice, and number two, what are today called the Trump accounts. Both of those provisions are in the bill now, and both of those provisions I wrote. Let me tell you how they work. On school choice, starting next year, every taxpayer in America can give up to $1,700 to a scholarship granting organization in the states. If you do so, you get a dollar-for-dollar tax credit. Now, not a deduction, a credit. That means if you write a check for $1,700, you owe $1,700 less to Uncle Sam. So from your perspective, it's free money. It doesn't cost you a penny. What is that going to do? Starting next year, it is going to unleash tens of billions of dollars of new scholarship money in the states for kids in K through 12 education. Billions of dollars flowing into Iowa and in every other state. 10 years from now, there are literally going to be millions of kids who had been trapped in failing schools. Many of those kids, African American or Hispanic, low income, kids who were in schools where they were not learning to read and write. They were not able to get an education. They were afraid of violence. They were afraid for their lives. Millions of kids will have gotten scholarships and been able to go to a Christian school, been able to go to a parochial school, been able to go to the school of their choice and get an education and have a real chance at the American dream. When I was fighting for this provision, I went to the Oval Office with President Trump and with Byron Donalds and Burgess Owens, and the three of us were urging the president to support this provision. And I said, Mr. President, if this gets done, you will go down in history as the greatest civil rights president of the 21st century. Now, your critics will never acknowledge it, but transformational opportunities for millions of low-income and underprivileged kids, that changes the entire face of the country. And then there are the Trump accounts. How do those work? Well, starting July 4th of this year, every child in America will have a personal investment account open for them. Newborn children will have them seeded with $1,000. Parents, family, employers can all put up to $5,000 a year in a tax-advantaged account, and all of that will be invested in the stock market. The S&P 500, a broad-based equity index. What are the advantages of this? Twofold. Number one, every child in America is going to benefit from the miracle of compound growth. Even the kids of single moms waiting tables will be able to accumulate hundreds of thousands of dollars in these accounts, which will change their entire future and give them the resources to get an education, to buy a home, to start a business. But secondly, we're going to create a whole new generation of capitalists. Listen, we've all seen the sorry statistics of young people who are losing faith in capitalism, who think, gosh, maybe socialism's a good idea. Well, 10 years from now, a little boy is going to pull out his cell phone and open up the app for his Trump account. And instead of thinking corporations are these big, mean, scary things he's supposed to be scared of, he's going to look down and say, you know what? I own $100 of Apple. I own $75 of Boeing or $50 of McDonald's. And suddenly our kids are going to be the owners of the biggest employers in America, and our kids have skin in the game, and that will transform their future. And to give you a sense of the order of magnitude, in 1974, when Congress passed Section 401k of ERISA, I doubt that anyone had any idea how fundamentally they were changing how Americans save for retirement. Today, there's more than $12 trillion in 401ks accounts. Trump accounts are 401ks for kids. In very short order, there's going to be trillions of dollars saved up for the next generation. That's domestically, that's economically, and you look at victories abroad. As we stand here today, there is a very real possibility that in the next year, we will see new governments in Iran, Venezuela, and Cuba. Now, there are 1,000 things that can go wrong. I don't want to be Pollyannish about that. But I will say this, at 3 a.m. on January 3rd of this year, when Delta Force apprehended Nicolas Maduro, every dictator in Latin America had to change his shorts. And it turns out a strong commander-in-chief is a heck of a lot better than a weak commander-in-chief. Third and final point. We are facing today a massive threat. Look, the Democrats have been radicalized. They hate Donald Trump, and they've gone to crazy train. These people have more cuckoos than a clock factory. Look, when I arrived in the Senate, there was precisely one open socialist in the Senate, Bernie Sanders. Crazy Uncle Bernie, hair sticking straight up. By the way, would it kill the guy to comb his hair? I mean, he's a socialist. He could take your comb. And all the other Democrats, they claim, no, we're not socialists. They're all socialists now. It has gotten so extreme. It has gotten so dangerous. And they're coming after us. And I tell you, there's a threat in particular that worries me deeply, which is we are seeing anti-Semitism rising across this country. About 10 years ago, anti-Semitism began rising on the left, and the Democrat Party leadership looked the other way and hoped it would go away. And it has all but consumed the Democrat Party today. Today, there is a very real pro-Hamas contingent in the Democrat Party, and the rest of the Democrats are terrified of the pro-Hamas contingent. Look at all of the so-called mainstream Democrats who took a pilgrimage to Manhattan to stand alongside Comrade Mandami. But listen, as Republicans, it's easy for me to criticize the Democrats. I'll tell you, in the last year and a half, we have seen anti-Semitism rising on the right. And we've seen more of it than I've ever seen in my lifetime. And there are a handful of self-appointed, outspoken influencers who are pushing anti-Semitism on the right, who are going on air and attacking Israel every day, attacking Jews every day, attacking President Trump every day. The single most dangerous one of all of them is Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene and a whole bunch of others, they have lost their ever-loving minds. But they are battling for the soul of our party and the soul of our country. And listen, I will say there has been no constituency in America that has been stronger supporters of Israel than evangelical Christians. Tucker Carlson has said on his show, there is nobody on planet Earth he hates more than Christian Zionists. And he identified in particular me and Mike Huckabee as the two human beings he hates the most. You know what? I bear his scorn with pride, because I have resolved about a year ago that I am going to do everything I can to fight and defeat this poison, and we will not let it destroy our party or our nation. And I will tell you, there's a concerted effort in particular in the church. I believe the Christian church is asleep. There are a lot of pastors who love Israel and think everything is just fine. And if you're 60 or 70 and 80 and a pastor and you're not online, you're not on social media, you don't see anything happening. I can tell you it is happening in your church. It is happening with teenagers and 20-somethings, and they are being pushed garbage, and it is being paid for, among others, by Qatar and Iran and China, and they know that if they can splinter the church, they will destroy the country. And so I am calling on pastors and leaders to stand up and preach what the Word says. Those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And I'll tell you what, our God doesn't make promises and break them. Our God's promises you can count on forever and ever and ever, and we've got to stand up and speak the truth. I truly believe this is an existential crisis. And here's why. Anti-Semitism is a gateway drug to anti-capitalism and anti-Americanism. Look, we can see it right now in New York, the Green-Red Alliance, where the Marxists and the Jihadis and Comrade Mondami, they come together because they hate the same people. And here's the secret. The people they hate is us. The people they hate is America. And I don't want to wake up in 5 years and find ourselves in a country where both major political parties are unambiguously anti-Israel and unashamedly anti-Semitic. We will not allow that to happen, not on our watch. And I want to say something clearly and unequivocally. Sharia law shall never be allowed in the United States of America. Look, truth matters, and we've got to speak the truth and speak it from joy. Be happy warriors. The left is so angry, so very angry. They stomp their little feet with their little high heels, and that's just the men. But we should respond with joy and with love. There's a very odd meme online. It's a picture of me, and it says, "This man ate my son." I saw it. I retweeted it. I said, he was delicious. Joy is a wonderful thing. And let me say, the way we win these battles in Iowa and across the country are the men and women who are in this room. It is citizens and patriots standing up for who we are as Americans. And I want to say to each of you, I believe God still has plans for America. Eternal truths are always true. And so I want to encourage each of you, speak the truth, speak it from love, speak it from joy, and let us together work to see yet another great awakening, a great revival in our nation. Amen. And let's together save the greatest country in the history of the world. God bless you.